Guys, and welcome back to my channel. We're still in a bit of a weird filming location because I'm still moving and this is what I have to work with at the minute. But today I wanted to look at 5 books that I think are going to be 5 stars. So let's jump into it. So the first book I want to talk about is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the final book in the Cursebreakers trilogy, and I have been looking forward to this for so long. I did put it off to read the Bone season because I adore the Bone season with all my being, but this so far has been a 5-star series. I liked the second book, I adored the first book, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the conclusion will not let me down. So in this, in A Curse So Dark and Lonely, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so we follow Harper as she is dragged from DC to this mystical realm where Ren needs to fall in love. And that's all I'm going to say. And it's really good, and I love it. I love the cast of characters. I love who we met in the second book. So yeah, there's a lot riding on this. A lot riding on this. The second book that I think will be a 5-star read is Misery. Now this is a really bold, just guess that I'm gonna like this, a really bold prediction. And that's because I've only read one Stephen King, and I read The Stand. I loved it. I loved his character work. There were some great creepy moments, but there's something about Misery, and maybe it's because Noelle talks about it, like the way she talks about this book just wants me to love it so much. And Misery, I believe, is about a lady whose favourite book is book series is coming to a conclusion, and she's not happy with it, so she kidnaps the author and makes him write another book. Is that right? I think that's right. So I'm hoping I'll love that, you know. The reason I picked this out of The Shining or Carrie, I think The Shining is going to be hit or miss, as same with Carrie. I'm not overly interested in it. I'm going to read it, but it's not one I think I'm going to love. The Shining, I'm on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to love it or not, but Misery, I just have this feeling that I'm going to adore it, and I'm going to adore the main character, even though you probably shouldn't. Going way off track, is the next one, and this is Beartown. Now, I picked this up at the end of last year, and I haven't picked it up yet. Because it's intimidating. I am intimidated by this. I know it's a hard-hitting adult contemporary that takes place in this small town where hockey is all they have left to live for, and there's a lot riding on the junior hockey team or the young adult hockey team, so 17 to 20 something. And there's a lot riding on this. However, something goes wrong, and well, something doesn't go wrong. There is a choice made by one of the hockey team players. Is that what it says? Let's just read the back, because I think I'm getting myself confused over actually what happens, because I've heard so many things about this, and I've heard so many people rave that they love this. So let's consult the back. It says, a tiny community deep in the forest, Beartown hasn't been the best at anything in a long time. But down by the lake stands an old ice rink, and in that ice rink, Kevin, Matt, Benji, and the rest of the town's junior ice hockey team are about to compete in the national semi-finals, and they actually have a shot at winning. All the hopes and dreams of this place now rest on the shoulders of a handful of teenage boys. Under that heavy burden, the semi-final match becomes the catalyst for a violent act that will leave a young girl traumatized and a town in turmoil. The story is about a town and a game, but even more about loyalty, commitment, and responsibilities of friendship. The people we disappoint even though we love them, and the decisions we make every day that comes to define us. In this story of a small forest town, Frederick Bachman has found the entire world. So based on that and what I hear people talking about, I think I'm gonna love this book. I think it's not gonna be a love that I have for books that make me want to live in that world. It's gonna be a painful, agonizing hurt, I think. But it's going to make me feel things, and sometimes you need to feel things, and I think when books make you feel things deeply, even if they're sad or anger or any passionate feeling, that they deserve a 5-star. And I think this is going to be one of those books. I really do. But I'm worried about it, so I don't know when I'll get to this. But I'm worried. I want to love it. I want to read it. I'm scared to read it because emotions. But we'll see. I definitely want to read more Frederick Bachman. So I figured if I read this and I love it, which I have a feeling I'm going to, then I'm going to pick up his short story, The Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. I think that's the name of it, just because it deals with Alzheimer and dementia, and that is something really close to me. So I thought, let's jump in and then deal with sad, emotional, passionate topics. And apparently he's really good at this. So yeah. So I have been really into gothic horror lately. I think that's like, there's something transportative? That's not a word, but it takes me somewhere and it gives me vibes that I love. Now, gore and things doesn't so much gross me out. I'm not creeped out by blood and guts. I'm not creeped out by, well, I'm not overly creeped out by things inside of people. I was going to say worms, but I don't like giant worms, but that's like a complete different thing here. But gothic horror is just good at giving me the creeps. And this next author, Laura Purcell, I've already read one of her books, which is a reason she's in this video. I read The Silent Companions a couple of years ago, and that gave me the creeps, the feels. Like, I had to stop reading it. I had the heebie-jeebies. It was good. It was so good. And I still think about that story on a regular basis. And so she's got two more. I think another book of hers came out, but she's got Bone China, which is one I have here, but she also has the corset. And out of both of those, I picked up Bone China because it sounded eerie. And basically, it's about a house in Cornwall where consumption has ravaged this family, barring the dad and a daughter, and we follow them after this, and a few years later, I think 40 years later, yeah. Shall I just read the back? That sounds like a wise idea. Morvoran, there we go, House, Cornwall. Consumption has ravaged Louise Pinecroft's family, leaving her and her father alone and heartbroken. But Dr. Pinecroft has plans for a revolutionary experiment to relaunch his medical career. 40 years later, Hester Y. It's weird when someone has a who, what, when, why surname. But anyway, Hester Y arrives at Morvoran House to take up a position as a nurse to the now partially paralysed and almost entirely mute Miss Pinecroft. This is not Sherlock Holmes. Hester has fled to Cornwall to try and escape her past, but she soon discovers that her new home may be just as dangerous as her last. So this is giving me, and I'm going to get slammed for saying this, but I really liked Verity last year, and it's kind of giving me like a little bit of Verity vibes, but hopefully, like, I think I gave Verity 4 stars. So the idea of Verity, but in a gothic setting and a bit more creepy and atmospheric, which I know Laura Purcell can do, sounds amazing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. Hopefully I don't put it off, because I'm good at putting off books that I think are going to be 5 stars. So yes. So the next one that I'm throwing in is because technically I think I've already given one of his books 5 stars, or at least close to it, now that I'm thinking back on the actual story. But I've read 1, 2, 3 of his works so far, and I love them. They're always like a good solid 4 star, if not an almost 5 star read. And that is Haruki Murakami, and this is Kafka on the Shore. Now there's something so like mysterious and magical and cooling about this book that I think I'm going to adore it. So let's read the back, because apparently I am having trouble describing what books mean today. Yes. Kafka Tamura runs away from home at 15, under the shadow of his father's dark prophecy. The aging Nakata, tracker of lost cats who never recovered from a bizarre childhood affliction, finds his pleasantly simplified life suddenly turned upside down. As their parallel odyssey unravels, cats converse with people, fish tumble from the sky, a ghost-like pimp deploys Hegel's sprouting girl of the night, a forest harbors soldiers apparently unaged since World War II, there's a savage killing, but the identity of both victim and killer is a riddle, one of many of which combine to create an elegant and dreamlike masterpiece. Now, I really loved the book. I'm thinking that I'm going to upgrade to a 5 star upon reread is The Colorist Tsuguru Tazaki. I adored that. It gave me the feels, it gave me like the relationship. I like the way he talks about relationships. And how he explores this. I read After Dark recently and I loved the sibling kind of commentary and like things on that. I adored that. I really did like that. That was a really good 4-star weird read. 10Q84. 1Q84. I read, also gave 4-star because it was just weird. Coming back to this, I think this is going to be a perfect combination of Murakami's weirdness and his kind of sentimentality and affection and characters like understanding and traversing through each other's life. I think it's gonna be great. So yes, I'm very excited about this. If I were going to be cheeky and throw up another 5-star predicted read, I'm not going to talk about it too much because you've already heard me say that I predict she is one of my favourite authors. Now, I've only read one trilogy by her, but each book was 5 stars. And, oh no, I read a trilogy by her, so 3 books, but also a short story. And let's just put this in here. I predict that N.K. Jemisin is going to be one of my all-time favourite authors of ever. So yeah, this is my cheeky little thing. I will be reading this soon. This is all the Inheritance trilogy plus a short story from the world, which I'm very excited about. But that's my little cheeky throw-in, is that, you know, I predict N.K. Jemisin is going to be an author I will never pass. Right guys, so here we have it. Here are my 5-star predictions. So we've got About So Bold and Deadly. Yeah, that's right, by Richard Kimurera. Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. Bone China by Laura Purcell. Beartown by Frederick Bachman. And Misery by Stephen King. Let me know, have you read any of these? Have you gave any of these 5 stars? What book are you planning on picking up soon that you think will be a 5-star book? I know that's kind of hard because obviously we don't go into books thinking that they're going to be bad, but these just are calling my name and I want to get to them soon and I want to love them. We'll see. I will eventually revisit this video when I read all of them and I will tell you my thoughts, feelings and opinions, and if I was correct. Fingers crossed, there are no duds. Right, that's it for this video. I hope you're all staying happy, safe and healthy, and I'll see you soon in another one. Bye guys.